Chapter 8. It was night and the moon was full that was shining upon the great forest of Tav. Near the forest, a skeleton was walking. Naturally, there were bones below. A dark red orb floated under his ribs, emanating a feeling of dread. He was just wearing pants and boots. On his right skeletal hand, he was holding a black sword. This skeleton was Ainz himself. The wind blew between his bones. While walking, he stopped, and the reason why was because a thick tree was in front of him. He saw the large tree and the red points inside his skull glow like fire. "Be gone." With a slash, he cut the tree with his black sword. The thick tree fly 10 meters away. If any mortal would have seen this, they would have been shocked. Even for a dragon would have not been easy to do something like that, yet Ainz did it like it was nothing. Ainz sit on the tree trunk, he stuck his black sword to the ground and turned his skull to the full moon that was giving light to his clean white bones. Man, what the hell should I do? Ever since he left the capital, this question was stuck in his mind. Ainz wanted to slaughter all those nobles that insulted him. Him, the world-class enemy that can send the entire kingdom into oblivion with a blink of an eye. But was it worth doing that? Right now he had followed the steps of his friend Touch Me, being a hero that saves those in need and danger, and that was what led him in this state. So what should he do now? Travel to the Empire. That nation must be like the kingdom, that's what Ainz thought. Ainz was lost deep in thoughts. There were some other alternatives, but he didn't prefer those. So what should I do? He was thinking and suddenly the words of a great friend showed up in his mind. Let's conquer one of the 9 worlds. Ainz remembered the words of the demon of great disaster, Overlord. After the Holy Alliance failed to conquer the great tomb of Nazarick, Ainz Ooal Gown prepared for revenge. They gathered all their allies that belonged to the heteromorphic race. Guilds that belonged to the undead race, demonic race, dragonid race and other monstrosities, all answered Ainz Ooal Gown call. They all gathered inside a large cave in Helheim and discussed about the destruction of the Holy Alliance. The members of Ainz Ooal Gown asked about forming a grand alliance against the strongest guilds like Seraphim or Trinity and put an end to the discrimination. They all accepted this without question because this war will bring great spoils. Touch Me suggested to call this union the Justice Alliance, but to everyone that sounded kind of cringe, even to Momonga. They were the villains, so they must have an evil title. The demon of catastrophe, Overlord, suggested to call this alliance the Heteromorphic Empire. This puts a smile on everyone's faces. That name sounded cool and evil, perfectly for villains. Everyone accepted this, but the empire will need an emperor, so the members of Ainz Ooal Gown suggested Momonga to become the emperor of the Heteromorphic Empire. A demonic guild suggested to put a demon as an emperor because it will be very cool, but the other guild didn't accept that because an overlord emperor was more badass, and with this the Heteromorphic Empire was formed. They didn't attack the Holy Alliance yet. No, that will be too hasty. The Heteromorphic Empire started to invade the world of Helheim. Every humanoid guild was destroyed in an instant by the Imperial Army, and every player that traveled to the world of Helheim was peeked by the members of the Heteromorphic Empire. The humanoids weren't the hunters anymore, they now were the prey. After putting the world of Helheim in their hands, the Heteromorphic Empire was preparing to launch an attack on the world of Asgard, where the Guild of Seraphim and Trinity was located. First they unleashed their undead, demonic, draconic armies to destroy the villages and cities that were protected by the Seraphim and Trinity. That lured out the humanoid and angelic players, and a terrifying battle started that was never seen before in the history of Yggdrasil. One by one, the members of the Holy Alliance were destroyed by the powerful members of the Heteromorphic Empire till they reached the heart of the Holy Alliance. The Kingdom of Heaven, that was the base of Seraphim, was attacked by a large army that was led by the undead Emperor Momonga, Touch Me, Overlord, and other allies. Their golden walls fell when they were hit by the powerful magic of the magic casters. Their NPCs were defeated by the NPCs of the Empire, and floor after floor was destroyed till they reached the angelic throne. The members of Seraphim fought well, but against a world champion, world disaster and a world-class enemy they had no chances. When the guildmaster of Seraphim, that was a female, fell, the undead Emperor Momonga destroyed the guild weapon, and with this, the age of Seraphim was over. Trinity had the same fate as the other guilds that were allies of the Holy Alliance. Nobody could dare to fight against the Heteromorphic Empire now, and with that, the world of Asgard became a territory of the Empire. This was the golden age for Ainz Ooal Gown and their allies, memories that Ainz will never forget. World conquest, Albert. That sounds really interesting, cuckoo. Ainz chuckled like an evil mastermind. Touch Me, being hero like you wanted sucks, now I have to follow the instructions of Albert. Since he became an adventurer, he was Suzuki Satoru, a hero that protected the weak. But now he has to kill him and become Ainz Ooal Gown, the Overlord. These people need someone powerful that will stop all the bullshit that is happening in this kingdom. They will not like me because I am an undead, but when I make their lives better, I think they will change, just like the villagers of Karne. Humans exist in this world and Ainz didn't want them to create advanced technology and pollute this world like the humans did with Earth. No, I will never allow them to reach that damn technology. Ainz wanted this world to be always a beautiful medieval fantasy that all races live together in harmony under the rule of an immortal king, but to achieve this, he needs to create a grand army and powerful subordinates that will protect his kingdom. Humans were corrupted beings, demahumans were not disciplined. His only choice was an undead army. The undead that are created by Ainz himself are loyal, disciplined and really powerful, an ideal army. But how can he create a large army? He can't just go to villages and massacre humans to turn them into undead. The humans will give him a bad title like the 8 Greed Kings, so how can he achieve this? Cat's Plains. That was a cursed land that is surrounded by a permanent foggy atmosphere that spawns undead every day. Oh yeah, that land that the kingdom and the empire fight every year. Yup, that will be a perfect place that nobody will disturb me while I create my army. Oh yeah. It's all coming together, cuckoo. Ainz was excited about this. But it will take years to create a large army of Death Knights. Ainz can summon 160 Death Knights per day, so that means, if he summon 160 Death Knights every day, in 1 year there will be 58,400 Death Knights. Ah, but that's not enough, I need more. How many years? I need to create an army of 400,000 Death Knights, 6 or 7 years I think. Oh, hold a second, I can summon high-level undead that can summon 12 Death Knights per day, cuckoo. The level 100 undead that Ainz can summon are Grim Reaper Thanatos, Overlord Wiseman, Undead Lieutenant, Overlord General, Witch King, Death Emperor and many other level 80 to 85 and 90 to 95 powerful undead. The high-level vampires that he can summon were only level 85 to 90. There was only one level 100 demon that Ainz can summon, and that will be a succubus. Ainz has a class called Dark Bishop that allow him to summon a level 95 Seraph and a level 100 Seraph Empyrean. An undead will stay permanent if I use a corpse, but how does it work with demons and angels? Do I have to make a sacrifice like killing a virgin woman or some other shit? I am acting like Tabula right now. I will think about angels and demons later. Come to think of it, I have a trump card. With a dark ritual, Ainz can summon a large undead army per day like he did in the 3rd floor of the Great Tomb of Nazarick. He wanted to have Death Knights as pop monsters in Nazarick, but it didn't work with his dark ritual, so he spent real money and used some cash items to summon on 1,000 Death Knights. Evely said that, when many undead are gathered in one place, a powerful undead will be born. So that means, I will gather thousands of undead or even millions if it is possible and use my dark ritual to summon at last 3,000 level 30 undead, or I hope level 35 to 40 death warriors. That will be absolutely perfect. If he can do this, Ainz will have an army of millions. He wanted to build his kingdom like a guild. Level 100 servants will protect the territories of his kingdom like a floor guardian would do. Shit, why didn't I think about this before? Wait a minute, it's not like I had information when I arrived to this world. Ah, whatever, I need to go to Cat's Plains now and start to rise my army, foo-foo. Can't wait to see those noble scumbags in despair, and I will make sure that. What is that? There was something that came out of the forest and it was coming to Ainz's direction. It was really fast for a human, but what Ainz saw strange was that the person was not looking in the direction that it was running, but it was looking behind, like something is chasing it. Oi, it's not looking at this way at all, what the? It didn't pass much and it came right to Ainz, and with a bam, it made an impact with his skeletal body. It rose its head while rubbing it and saw in the direction of Ainz. Its eyes from worried turned to horrified. Ainz observed its body and it was a women. 0 comments, 0 vote. Chapter 9. Damn. A girl with short blonde hair that was wearing a black coat and bikini armor was running really fast like a lightning in the forest. She was being chased by her former comrades of the Black Scripture. Damn it. How did they find me? She was a member of the slain theocracy Black Scripture. Her desire for violence is what led her to join the combat forces, but for her was not enough. She was a sadistic psychopath that was obsessed with pain and torture. Being the 9th seed in the Black Scripture, she went on different missions to kill non-humans, but her comrades were disgusted with her because she prefers to torture her fellow humans the most, instead of protecting them from powerful monsters. The Cardinals didn't let her go on any missions with her comrades anymore. That made her angry and depressed. This is what led her to betray the Black Scripture and her nation, the slain theocracy. What she did first was that she killed many people in the capital to cause a panic that will make her escape easier, and she stole the crown of wisdom from one of the 6 Miko princesses of the theocracy. With that, she traveled town after town and village after village, leaving many victims behind till she reached the border with the kingdom of Riestais. She was heading to the Carne village, but it was surrounded with stone walls and it didn't look like a village anymore, but a fortress, and she noticed some bulky creatures with huge shields that were guarding the walls, so she thought it was better not to go inside that place. She decided to go Rantel to meet some members of Zuranon, but walking in the forest of Tob, she encountered her former comrades that she had fight side by side in the past, but what shocked her the most was that the monster that protects the god artifacts was there too. Why was she here? She didn't understand. Why would they bring that monster just for her? Or maybe it was something else. After a small conflict, she managed to escape, but for how long? Many members of the Black Scriptures were stronger and faster than her, which will make her escape more difficult. If the monster decided to run after her, then all her adventure will be over. She had fought before in the training arena against the captain and the monster. She managed to put a good fight against the captain, but against the monster, the fight ended in the blink of an eye. She had to stay away from the monster, the captain and the second seat. Time turbulence, those were the most dangerous of the Black Scripture. Did that bitch astrologer found me? Damn that bitch. She keeps cursing all of them, but suddenly her path was blocked by a massive man that was holding a large black axe. She knows this man very well. He was the 10th seed of the Black Scripture, also known as the strongest human. He was not faster than her, but he can do massive damage. Oi Clementine, you are surrounded, so stop your futile running. Screw you, asshole. Ability boost. Greater evasion. She activated her martial art and went to the direction of the strongest human, like a lightning. He activated Strong Strike to increase the power of a strike attack, but Clementine used Flow Acceleration, an art that increases attack speed and movement speed. The man was too slow and it didn't see where Clementine was. She wanted to thrust her stilettos in his eyes to cause him intense pain, that will give her pleasure. The moment she was about to penetrate his eyes, her stilettos were diverted from a spear. Clementine felt a chill down her spine. She knows very well who that humble spear belonged to. Out of nowhere, a white chain was coming towards her really fast, forcing Clementine to use Invulnerable Fortress to block the attack. The powerful attack sent her flying, but before hitting the ground, the chain attacked again and made a small cut on her belly. It was clear that they didn't want to kill her but to capture her. The harsh fall caused Clementine too much pain. Blood was coming out from her stomach. It was a really bad wound that needs to be healed fast, but she was strong, so she endured it. She turned her head in the direction of the 3 figures. The captain, the strongest human, and the divine chain, Beaumarchais that has taken Clementine's place were all looking at her. She saw them with hateful eyes. Clementine, that's enough. You will come with us and you will be judged for the crimes that you have committed against our nation, declared the captain. She really hated him when he spoke like that. The lucky and pretty boy that had the blood of the gods in his veins tried to talk always like a mighty hero. It really disgusted her. She managed to rose up on her feet and was thinking to find a way out of this. More members of the Black Scripture showed up. Now the situation was even more difficult. She looked around to see if there was something that would help her escape from her former comrades, and there was a tree behind her. She managed to calm down and wait for what actions will they take. Ah, it's been a long time that we haven't seen each other, guys, said Clementine while smiling. I don't think it has been a long time, Clementine, spoke a sweet voice that belonged to a girl with long blonde hair and pale white skin. She was known as Divine Chant. Oh, but I truly missed you guys. Cut the crap, you crazy woman, and come with us. It was the 6th seat that spoke with an angry voice. He has short blonde hair and was equipped with a decorative set of armor and a very large lance around the length of his body. You are so mean, said Clementine with a sad voice. Little sister, that's enough. Drop your weapons and come with us. Please. This was Quintia, the one-man army, that spoke with a worried voice. He had blonde hair, pink eyes, and had rings on his fingers that store his tamed beasts. Clementine hated him because their parents loved him the most. He was the only one that was praised in the family. Even being in the same scripture serving the nation, they never cared about her. I think it's too late to speak like that, big brother, said Clementine while she spat on the ground. Clementine, this is my last warning, drop your stilettos and come with us, demanded the captain with a firm tone. Clementine observed around if that monster was somewhere, but she hasn't arrived yet. All of them were trouble, but that monster was the end of everything. I have a proposal, guys. Everyone raises an eyebrow and looked at Clementine with weird and curious eyes. What did she want to talk in a moment like this? Can't she see that there was no escape? They were all waiting for her to talk. And what is that? Asked the captain. Clementine smiled evilly. How about you guys, go back to the slain theocracy and lick the balls of the cardinals, proposed Clementine with a cheerful voice. Everyone was stunned for a moment. This woman was not afraid of what fate awaits her. Their eyes were filled with rage. Clementine cannot be fixed, she was just crazy. The only way to bring her back to the slain theocracy was to kill her and use resurrection magic to bring her back to life and interrogate her. This bitch is crazy. I'm gonna kill her. Shouted angry the sixth seat. He was running really fast that only those who have reached the realm of the heroes can do it. The members of the Black Scripture were the strongest humans in the continent that fought in the shadows, powerful monsters that were a threat for humanity. The Black Scripture was known only for the name, but if the public saw what were they capable to do, they would have been the most famous heroes in the continent, but the cardinals didn't want to show the other nations their trump card. Come closer. Come closer. Clementine was waiting for him to come to the place she wanted him to be. Die, bitch. He shouted while activating his martial art. Yeah, fuck you too. Clementine thrust her stiletto in the body of the tree that was behind her and activated Fireball, a third-tier spell that was enchanted on her stiletto. The explosion was huge that caused the thick tree to fall in the direction of the sixth seat. Damn it. He didn't have time to run away, so he used his lance to protect himself from the thick tree that was on fire. He activated Invulnerable Fortress and his lance made an impact with the tree. He was struggling to resist but his legs were trembling. A little help, damn it. Beaumarchais used his chain and captured the sixth seat. The tree fell to the ground making a loud release the sixth seat and caused him to fall on the butt. Damn it, Beaumarchais, learn how to land the others. He said while rubbing his butt. You're welcome. He was looking for Clementine but she was not there. Damn that bitch, she is playing dirty. He shouted with an angry tone. Clementine just fooled them all and used the perfect moment to escape. Well, she is one versus all of us, so of course she will fight dirty. Said a girl that was wearing a school uniform. That bitch is thinking this is a game I'm gonna. Suddenly a bastard sword was near his throat. He was confused for a moment and turned his head slowly on his right side. The owner of that sword was Quintia, he didn't understand what was wrong with him. What the hell, Quintia? He shouted. I know she is a criminal and all, but she is still my sister and I will kill you if you call her like that again, do you understand? Warned Quintia with a hostile tone. Everyone was looking at those two worried. Something like this has never happened before in the Black Scripture. Well, we are having a turkey quarrel here All of them turned their heads to the owner of that voice. It belonged to a young girl with a war scythe. Behind her were an old woman and a girl with blue hair that had a big hat on her head. Most of them stayed away from her. You are slow. Said, Time Turbulence. Oh no, I'm not slow. Granny and Big Hat are the ones that are slow. Said the girl with the scythe. Hey Captain, weren't we hunting the Catastrophe Dragon Lord? Let the other scriptures to deal her. Spoke the girl again. Shut up you freak, the only reason you are here is to protect Lady Kyrie and the god artifact. Let us do the job and stay out of this. All the Black Scripture was shocked by what Time Turbulence said. No one has ever had the balls to shout at her like that. Only the cardinals can do that, but from Time Turbulence, it was unexpected. I will crush you like a bug, you brat. She threatened with killing intent. Oh yeah, come at me then, you half-elf slut. He shouted. He is crazy. That's what everyone thought. This man was asking to die. Against her, nobody here had a chance, even if they fought her all together there was no victory. They didn't know what was going on inside his head. The girl clenched her scythe and started to walk towards Time Turbulence slowly. He took out his rapier and entered in a battle position but suddenly. That's enough. It was the captain, Angelo Zarianiti, who shouted with an angry tone. Both of them stopped and turned their faces at the captain. A traitor of the nation is running away from us, a powerful dragon lord is about to be revived and there is a goddamn monster out there that can destroy alone a scripture full of magic casters and kill a Miko princess from miles away, and you all are here behaving like children. All of them lowered their heads in shame because the captain was right. They were the Black Scripture, the trump card of humanity, and they were acting like little children. But still, they had never seen their captain this angry before. Let's move, Clementine was wounded so I believe she hasn't run very far from here. Yes, Captain. They obeyed and started to move fast. Clementine was bleeding and her skin was becoming paler. She had used dull pain but the effect was gone and she was feeling dizzy right now. If they reach her again, she will have to give up, she can't do this anymore. I don't want this. She heard noises behind her. They were here, she couldn't believe it, they have reached her so fast. No, she was the wounded bull, she's the one who was slowly running and running in the dark forest. She reached a large rock. She jumped on the rock and looked behind again. Clementine could feel that they were coming in her direction really fast. She prayed for something to save her. She jumped from the large rock and... crap. She didn't notice that in front of her was a wide plain. There were only 5 or 6 trees here and there was no place for her to hide. She cursed the gods for not helping her, they were helping them. She keeps running and didn't care for her wound anymore, and she looked behind all the time to see if they have come out of the forest. She had to get out of this field fast if she didn't want to be seen by them. Faster. 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 She can do it, she can escape from this nightmare. She ran and ran and raw. Bam. Clementine fell on the ground, and the reason why. She hit something. She didn't feel her legs anymore, because she was too tired. She put one hand on the wound, the other one used it to rub her head. No. 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 This can't be happening. She was in a panic, her former comrades will reach her if she stays here. She has to get up and run, but she couldn't. But wait, what did she hit? That impact didn't even feel like she had hit a tree. She turned her head to look at what she had hit, but what she saw was something unbelievable. From worried, her eyes turned to horrified, and the reason why was because there was an undead skeleton sitting on a tree stump staring at her. It wasn't the first time she had seen an undead, but the reason why she was afraid right now was that this skeleton was really different. He was wearing pants and boots, a red sphere floated under his ribs, and it looked really scary. The skeleton rose from the tree stump and took a black sword that was on the ground. This undead was not normal. He looked really dangerous. She wanted to run away and let the damn scripture to deal with him, but she couldn't even stand up. Place please, me mercy. What the hell was she even thinking? Asking this thing that hates every living being for mercy. But she couldn't think of anything right now. Her body was numb, so she can't get up and fight for her life, and her weapons are not effective against an undead like this one. Suddenly the skeleton turned his skull to the forest. It was the direction where she came from before. There was a man with a spear that came out of the forest. It was the captain of the Black Scripture. Clementine hoped for this skeleton to be strong and to give her some time to escape. Clementine, stop right there, you traitor. The captain stopped running towards her because he saw a skeleton that was looking at him with dreadful eyes. He shocked for a moment. And then, more figures came out from the dark forest and reached the captain. Captain, did you find her? Hey, why did you stop? What's going on? Wow. By the gods. What the hell? They were all shocked by the being that was standing in front of them. They saw his crimson points on his skull, clean white bones, beautiful rings on each of his skeletal fingers, and a black sword that he was holding on his right skeletal hand. The red sphere is what frightened them the most, it looked really bizarre. Oi, what is a skeleton doing here? Asked the strongest man, worried. The skeleton turned his skull to look at the 3 figures that were approaching. He was staring at the dress of the old woman. Zeshi was looking at him with a surprised expression. Hey kids, he keeps staring at the item, this is weird. Spoke Kyrie. Alright, enough with this, I will destroy this skeleton and capture Clementine. Said, time turbulence. Hold on a second. It was Thousand Leagues astrologer who spoke. Look at that sphere, those rings, and that sword. Yeah, so? Asked, time turbulence, in annoyance. Doesn't that look weird to you? If he was just a normal skeleton, he would attack us, but he is just standing there. Ainz didn't pay attention to their conversation, he was just looking at the dress that the old woman was wearing. How the hell do these guys have a world-class item? He was totally surprised. Ainz didn't believe that these people were players, no, their level was too weak. The other thing that surprised him was the girl with heterochromia, also one side of her hair is silver, while the other half is black. She was holding a war scythe, and Ainz had a similar weapon like that in his inventory, but it was weird because the girl was the only one that was smiling, all the others were shocked or worried. That dress is definitely downfall of castle and country, but who was the fool who gave it to them, this item? Ainz had read before about this world-class item. This world item allows the user to subjugate the mind of any creature, even those that possess racial immunity to mind control. For instance, it can effectively bypass the undead's resistance without a problem. But this world item was not one of the 20, and Ainz is a world-class enemy, so this item will be useless against him. Don't worry, I will kill the skeleton, you others capture that traitor. The young man with the spear spoke. Ah shit, here we go again. Of course, they want to kill him because he was an undead. Nothing has changed. All right, Black Scripture, let's get to work. So this is the Black Scripture, huh? Impressive. For natives of this world, they were strong. Ainz didn't want to kill them, but if they want to kill him. Let's go. Wait, just wait, Captain. What is it, astrologer? Asked the captain in annoyance. Look, Captain, I have a bad feeling about this. Let's just leave that undead alone. Thousand Leagues astrologer was the only one now who was worried about this. This undead was just too strange in a forest like this. Astrologer, I know you are worried. If it was a legendary undead, that will be different. But that thing is just an undead skeleton, so there is nothing to worry about. Said the captain, and he turned to walk towards the skeleton, but suddenly. It will be better to listen to the words of your comrade, boy. All of them froze on the spot and then took a step back. That thing just spoke. They didn't understand where that voice was coming from. They clenched their weapons tight. This undead must not be underestimated. Did this thing just spoke? Asked in surprise Kyrie. All of you protect Lady Kyrie, leave this undead to me. Said the captain. They didn't understand why did he want to fight this skeleton alone. Why do you want to kill me? What did I do to you? Asked the skeleton with a curious tone. Because you exist. Replied the captain with a strong tone. Because I exist. Can you explain? Asked the skeleton again while crossing his bony arms. Your kind is a disease for this world. Undead and demihumans should be erased from the surface of this world. Humans will always be the supreme race. Declared the captain with a firm tone. Humans are weak. They were used as slaves or as food by the strong races hundreds of years ago. But when the 6 great gods descended from heaven, humanity started to rise and fight back. Now that's sad. Just because I belong to a different race, I have to die now, I don't understand why I'm having a conversation with a skeleton. Prepare to go back to hell filth. The captain now entered in a battle position. The skeleton didn't care about the danger and opened his bony arms like he wanted to hug someone. The others were surprised by what the skeleton was doing. It looked like he wanted to give up, but no. Come at me with whatever you got, boy. Said the skeleton. He spoke like he was confident that the captain couldn't kill him. That's what others found strange. They had never encountered an enemy like this undead before. I will kill you without using any martial art. The captain loses from the ground with a fury that none except Zeshi could see him. He pointed his humble spear at the skeleton to thrust it at the sphere because he thought that the sphere was the source of his life. He hit the sphere and went beyond him. He landed on the ground, cousin a bit dust. He stood up and opened his eyes to see if the skeleton was still standing. You are dead now, skeleton. Said the captain with a grin on his face. I already am dead, but you should collect your pieces. Said the skeleton while turning his skull at the captain. He didn't understand what was the skeleton talking about and he finds it weird that he hasn't fall to the ground. The hell are talking about? He heard a noise like something fell on the ground and wasn't feeling the weight of his spear. He lowered his head and saw his spear and both of his arms on the ground. Blood flowed from his chopped arms and saw them with shocked eyes. Captain! Shouted astrologer with tears in her eyes. Ah, ah! The captain wanted to scream from the shock but he couldn't, because blood was coming out from his mouth, but that was not all. Blood was shown upon his neck and then it fell. Every piece of his body and armor was cut and he didn't realize it until one by one they fell on the ground. He was still trying to realize what just happened but his head fell on the ground with the rest of his other body parts. Captain Angelo's Arianiti died without knowing how. Holy hell, how did he do that? Thought Zeshi while looking at the skeleton. She didn't care about the captain. No, she didn't care about anybody. She was amazed how the skeleton had slain the captain. The others were looking at their fallen captain with shocked eyes. This can't be real. He is a godkin, he can't die like that, but the reality was different. Their captain, the pillar of the Black Scripture that had led them, for a long time was lying dead in pieces. Monster, monster! Shouted, Time Turbulence, in panic. The situation has turned very dangerous real quick. They did not restrain themselves. Second seat, Antonio, Time Turbulence. Fifth seat, Quintia, One-Man Army. Sixth seat, Colthris. Eighth seat, Cedron, Myriad Barriers. Ninth seat, Beaumarchais, Divine Chain. 10th seat, Grizio, Strongest Human. 12th seat, Gon, Heaven and Earth. They surrounded the skeleton and activated their most powerful martial arts. Quintia summoned his magical beasts and a giant basilisk. We will support you. Shouted, divine chant. Great gods, lend me your supreme power. Maximize magic, divine judgment. A huge white sword descended from heaven and hit the skeleton. The impact caused a huge white explosion. Third seed of the Black Scripture activated his spell too. Maximize magic, call greater fireball. The large fireball hit the skeleton and caused a fire explosion. Everyone felt the shockwaves of those two spells, and now was the perfect moment for the warriors to destroy the undead. Greater ability boost, Shukuchi Kai. Greater ability boost, Lancelot Strike. Ability boost, Dragon Chain Thrust. Iron Skin, Iron Fist. Shield Bash, Grand Power Strike. All those martial arts attack the skeleton in all parts of all these strikes, the body of the skeleton will be cut to pieces just like he did with the captain. The summoned magical beasts did their job too at attacking the undead. The divine chant and third seed of the Black Scripture attacked the skeleton with countless destructive spells. The skeleton couldn't be seen, because of the dust and smoke that was caused by the powerful attacks of the Black Scripture. Now they were waiting to see the results and if the skeleton had died for good. The smoke and dust fade away slowly and 2 red points could be seen. They belonged to the undead and now his entire body could be seen. Everyone felt a chill down their spine. They were all shaking in terror because this monster was unharmed. He didn't have a single injury on his skeletal body. What in the world are you? The skeleton looked at Antonio. Death. The undead rose his arms and opened them. The Black Scripture was ready to attack him again, but it was too late. Gates of Apollonia. Many golden circles appeared behind the skeleton, and what came out from them were the edges of swords, spears, axes, and lances. All of them started to step back because some understood a little bit what that spell could do. You are a magic caster. It was the girl with the school uniform who asked with a shocked voice. At the moment the warriors were about to run away, it was too late because the weapons loosed from the golden circles and went straight at the members of the Black Scripture. They tried to use their weapon to stop the incoming attack, but it was futile. This was a 10th tier spell, those weapons were way too fast. Each of the warriors was penetrated by countless of swords, lances, axes, and spears. Arms, heads, legs, and guts flight everywhere. In a blink of an eye, 6 members of the Black Scripture were brutally massacred by the golden weapons. The divine chant has grasped her mouth in horror. She and her comrades were trapped in a nightmare. She didn't know how to describe this scene, it was just horrifying. She turned her head. We have run away. Orila. The girl with the school uniform Orila was looking at her, but something tragic has happened. She was standing looking at divine chant, but blood was coming out of her mouth, and the reason why was because Orila was penetrated by 2 swords and 1 spear on her chest. R.O. They. Nah. The name of divine chant was the last thing she said and fell to the ground like a puppet with the strings cut. Tears were coming out from the eyes of Rovina because her comrades were falling one by one and she can't do anything to stop it. Ability boost, greater ability boost, Shukuchi Kai. Again Antonio used martial arts like a crazy man to attack the undead, but none of them did any damage at him. He now was in front of him. Why don't you just die, you monster? Screamed Antonio. He was really tired of the use of many martial arts. You should have stayed away from me, boy. Said the undead. What, Guagoog? The skeleton grabbed his head. He dropped his weapon on the ground because he was struggling to set free, but eat lit fuckboy. Inferno. Blazing inferno devoured Antonio completely, leaving nothing from him but dust. Lady Kyrie prepared to use downfall of castle and country, we will use the high angels, Zeshi protect her. Shouted Rovina and took out a crystal, same thing did the third seed of the Black Scripture. They have more of those. Spell sealing crystals were one of the rarest among magic items in Yggdrasil, and Ainz was surprised. Nigan had one that belonged to him now, and these 2 magic casters have each of them one. The legendary angels descended upon the earth, a scene that Ainz had seen when he fought Nigan. O mighty angels of heaven, destroy the fiend, use holy smite. The spell was cast, and 2 pillars of light broke through the sky. A holy blue-white radiance flooded down from the heavens, hit Ainz. This sacred power would annihilate all evil beings, and even good entities would meet the same fate. The difference was only if they were reduced to sightless atoms, or if there would actually be remains left behind. This was the awesome power of magic that exceeded the realm of humanity. But the skeleton was still there. Ha 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 ha, this is wonderful. A long time ago God said, let there be light, but I say. Maximize magic, true dark. The bodies of the angels were corroded by non-elemental darkness, causing both of them to die, and their bodies turned to countless dancing motes of light that vanished into the air. Both the magic casters gulped and took some steps back. Even 2 7th tier spells didn't do any damage to him. Kids, I'm ready to use it, get out of there. Here it comes, downfall of castle and country. Ainz's crimson points were glowing like fire. 2 comments 0 vote. Chapter 10. Do it now, Lady Kyrie. The holy light shined the earth, but most of the light was descended on the powerful skeleton. The moment of truth was coming. Kyrie raised her arms on the sky. The undead didn't move, not a bit, like he didn't care that he was about to be his from a powerful item that belonged to the 6 great gods. Go now. The holy shining dragon came out from the dress and rose to havens. It changed direction and was heading towards the powerful undead. Rowena and Astrologer were praying to the gods for the item to have an effect upon the undead. If it didn't have, then this will be the end for the Black Scripture, for humanity. The undead was hit, all the remaining members of the Black Scripture felt it. It made light so much that everyone needed to close and protect their eyes. The sacred item of the gods was potent, no one can resist it, not even the undead beings that were immune to mind control magic. The sacred light now begins to fade away, restoring again the night sky. Everyone was waiting to see the result. The undead skeleton was just standing there, the crimson points in his skull had disappeared. Nobody moved because they were not sure if the god artifact had an effect. Did it work? Asked Astrologer. I don't know. Lady Kyrie, give that monster an order to make sure he is under the control of the item. Said Rowena. Undead, make 3 steps forward. Gave command Kyrie. The undead skeleton obeyed and made 3 steps forward as Kyrie commanded him. Everyone felt relieved. Finally, the monster that had killed their comrades was under the control of the sacred item and they can order him to do what they want. Rowena and Astrologer hugged each other and tears came out from their eyes. The nightmare was finally over, but it cost them too much. There were no cries of joy and celebration. Thank gods, this is over. As expected of you, Lady Kyrie. You managed to control this powerful monster. Praise the 3rd seed of the Black Scripture. Zeshi didn't speak, but it was just staring at the undead. Don't thank me, thank the mighty gods that have left behind their treasures to protect humanity. Said Kyrie while sitting down on the ground, because she was tired from all this. It is as you say, my lady, but our friend, Rowena, fell on her knees crying. I don't know about young Antonio, but we might bring the others back with resurrection magic. Yes, we have to gather them in a safe place and send a message to the other scriptures to come and help. The words of Astrologer were cut. No, the world was shut. Ah, children, when all this is all over, I'm going to retire from the duty. Kyrie felt something wasn't right. Everything was silent, she couldn't even felt the wind. She saw around and nobody was moving or saying a word. They were just staying there like statues. She even saw 2 birds that were frozen in the sky. This was really strange. There was only one that was moving. Stay back. Ordered Kyrie. The undead that was hit by the sacred item was moving toward her and it wasn't obeying her commands. She didn't understand why this was happening. I ordered to stay back, undead, now. Shouted Kyrie. The undead still didn't stop and it was reaching her. The heart of Kyrie started to pump faster and she was trembling. Oh gods, why don't you? I'm ordering you to stay back. Zeshi, everyone, please do something. Nobody listened and nobody moved a muscle. This was not normal, her mind was going crazy. Now the skeleton was in front of her. His crimson points inside his skull were glowing and were staring at her. The skeleton lowered his skull close to Kyrie and was looking at her with dreadful eyes. Kyrie was trembling, her entire body was sweating. Did you really thought you had a chance? Suddenly spoke the undead. Kyrie felt a chill down her spine. The undead wasn't on her command, but he was fine, like he was never hit from the downfall of castle and country. Why you, but the light hit you. Said Kyrie with a trembling voice. Cuckoo, oh yes, it really did. How it's possible that you resisted a god artifact? Suddenly the skeleton began to fondle with his skeletal hand the head of Kyrie like a mother will fondle her child. Shish, it's not your fault. It's not that I resisted it, but it didn't have an effect on me. You might be curious why your friends are not moving. Well, that's because I stopped time. The eyes of Kyrie were shocked, she might have a heart attack at any moment. This being cannot be a simple undead. Only the 6 great gods can stop the flow of time, it was written in the old books. Could this undead be something like them? Are you a god? Trembled Kyrie asked. Suddenly the skeleton grabbed Kyrie by her head. His skeletal hand has covered her entire face. She was struggling to escape, but it was impossible because those bones were far too strong than her weak arms. You old bitch, you just attacked me with a world-class item. If one doesn't have another world-class item to counter it, that means certain death, but I didn't bother at all against that attack, because I am something that this world hasn't seen before. Please forgive me, begged Kairi onerously. The undead being didn't release her head, but it started to tighten it. She begins to feel pain in her entire body and she started to scream. When you go to the other world, tell those 6 fake fucks that one day, Ainz Ooal Gown will destroy everything what they have built. Ainz crushed the head of Kairi without mercy. Her skull was crushed, blood spread everywhere. Her eyeballs and parts of the brain came out and fell to the ground. That can't be called anymore a head. Ainz saw the world-class item that was covered with blood. Give me my trophy, bitch. Ainz undressed her and he threw the naked body of Kairi on the ground like garbage. He took out from his inventory the pitcher of endless water and started cleaning the world item from the blood of that filth. Don't worry, Papa Bones will take care of you. He talked with the world item like a mother with her child. What surprised Ainz was that the world item changed its form and turned into keep-out dress for men and for Ainz form. He now turned and went to the place he was hid by the world item because the effect of the spell was about to end. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Send a message to the other scriptures to come and help us to transport the bodies to the capital. Yes, Lady Kairi, can we trouble you too? Rowena froze, and the reason why was because she saw the body of Kairi on the ground naked with her head completely crushed. The others turned their heads to and had the same expression as Rowena. What just happened? They didn't understand. Kairi was there talking with them seconds before, but now she was lying dead on the ground. Cuckoo, this is amazing. That voice again. They didn't want to believe it. Slowly they turned their heads and saw the impossible. The skeleton that was supposed to be under their command, now he was looking at a dress that looked similar to the one Kairi wear. No, that one belonged to Kairi. This will make a fine addition to my collection, cuckoo. The undead chuckled. The god artifact that belonged to the slain theocracy, vanished like had never existed, and the undead turned his skull at them. Now, how shall we end this? You fiend. Dragon lightning. The third seed of the black scripture attacked the skeleton with a 5th tier spell, but it vanished when it reached the body of the undead. Child's play. Vermilion Nova. A pillar of flame came towards the third seed and penetrated his body, causing him instant death. Rowena and Astrologer kneeled on the ground. They had lost the will to fight. Fighting against this god was impossible. They can cast all the spells they have and this undead will eat them for dinner. They were too tired from this, they were just waiting for a quick and painless death. Ainz was waiting for the girl with the scythe. What will she do? 2 comments 0 vote. Chapter 11, Ainz vs Zeshi. Zeshi approached slowly and she was now 15 meters away from the skeletal being. They both stared at each other, heterochromia eyes and crimson points, war scythe and black sword. Zeshi smiled at Ainz and spoke. May I know your mighty name? This one is called Zeshi Zetsume. Ainz observed her with curiosity. A level 85 warrior, it surprised Ainz because it was the first high-level being that he had seen since he arrived in this new world. Well, if it's gonna be like that. Ainz lifted his head and introduced himself. My name is Ainz Ooal Gown. Astrologer and Rowena that were watching, trembled when they heard that name. It was a powerful name that only fit an overpowered being like this undead. Do we really have to fight Miss Zeshi? Asked Ainz. I have been looking forward all my life for a moment like this, Lord Ainz. Replied Zeshi smiling. Ainz just heard something weird. Why are you referring to me as Lord? Asked Ainz with wonder. He had killed almost all her comrades, he was the enemy. Didn't she have a bit of empathy for them, or she didn't care? That's because you are a mighty powerful being. This world is like a jungle. Power and strength was everything to survive. If someone doesn't seek strength, then it will be devoured by the strong. This was the way for this world. I see. Well, I have to say, I really like your eyes. No, you are really cute though. Said Ainz. Zeshi just stared at him for a moment, then her face became red. Never in her life had someone told those words to her. You think I'm see you cute? Asked Zeshi, hardly controlling herself. Ainz started to regret calling her like that. Yeah. Look, if I offended you, I'm sorry. No, I have never been. Foo. Zeshi closed her eyes and rolled her head. Ah, I'm really getting excited, shall we start now? Aight then Zeshi, come at me whenever you want. Said Ainz. Zeshi smiled joyfully, finally a powerful being that might defeat her was standing right in front of her. The warrior blood of Zeshi was boiling from excitement. The powerful undead being raised his bony arms like he wanted to welcome her. She took a fighting position and started to activate her martial arts. Martial art greater ability boost Reaper Strike. Zeshi, like a bloodthirsty maniac, charged at the undead being with a speed that no mere human can do or even achieve. The ground exploded beneath her feet with every step she took. The undead being remained unmoved while observing Zeshi that was about to strike him with the war scythe, and with a soft voice, he spoke. You better watch where you set foot, girl. Huh. 3 huge explosions blew Zeshi's body away. Before crashing on the ground, she thrust the blade of her war scythe on the ground to control the fall. She saw her gear and steam was coming out because of the heat that was caused by the explosive magic. Wide and magic, asteroid rain. She heard the powerful undead casting his magic, then she turned her head at the sky, and the reason why was because there were hundreds of large rocks on fire that were falling in her direction. This was really bad. She quickly activated her martial art. Greater ability boost, greater evasion. The large asteroids made an impact with the ground and caused huge explosions, shockwaves, earthquake, and made large craters on the ground. Zeshi was running fast and she was dodging every asteroid that was coming at her. Zeshi had a grin on her face and she was thinking to use this to her advantage. Zeshi jumped in one of the asteroids, and when the huge rock crashed on the ground, the explosive and shockwave force gave her tremendous speed, sending her straight at the undead being direction. Fatal Edge Reaper Strike. At the moment she was about to hit the undead being with her war scythe. Astral Smite. Small shining rivets hit Zeshi's body, causing her to scream in agony, but still, she endured because she activated dull pain. The blade of the war scythe was about to hit him, but... Shark's Cyclone. A 100 meters high tornado with a 50-meter diameter showed up and sucked Zeshi inside. She managed to cut the giant shark that was coming at her in 2 pieces, but the tornado sent her flying very far. Zeshi crashed harshly on the ground, causing her intense pain. She spat blood on the ground and managed to get up on her feet. Ha, 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 so powerful. How can I even reach him? Zeshi took out a healing potion and drank it. She felt the scars that were caused by the fight recovering, but she still felt pain inside her body. Suddenly, a shining pillar was coming toward her really fast. Zeshi's black and white eyes went wide because the pillar was really huge. She ran fast from the large pillar and then managed to fall into a hole that was caused by one of the asteroids. The huge shining pillar passed her. It was not just huge, but long too. When it begins to touch the ground, it destroyed everything that was on his way. Trees, rocks, all of them were destroyed, and the shining pillar still didn't stop, but then... DOOOOOOOOOM. The huge pillar exploded, sending shockwaves almost in the entire forest. Zeshi and the others closed and protected their eyes because the explosion was even more shining than the downfall of castle and country. The light slowly fades away. There was the sound of sizzling, as though someone had thrown a burning torch into water. Zeshi raised her head from the hole and the first thing she saw was a 100-meter giant red cross that had kissed the heavens, but then she saw the earth. Oh my god. The explosion had destroyed everything in 300 meters. Nothing alive prevailed. There were several areas on the ground which were still emitting smoke. This scene looked like the world has ended and only death prevailed there. It was a horrifying scene for Astrologer and Rovina that had closed their mouths with their hands from the shock. Zeshi came out from the hole and turned slowly to see the undead being. Sorry about that, Zeshi. Apologized, the undead being. What was that? Asked Zeshi with a shaky voice. It was a mere 10th tier spell called Falling Angel, and I really wanted to see how this spell looked like. Said the undead being. A mere 10th tier spell, he called that, a mere 10th tier spell. What was more shocking is that he just wanted to see the effects of the spell. This sent Zeshi a shiver down her spine. What could he have more in his arsenal? Is he just toying with me? Since the battle started, she hasn't managed to hit him at least once. The angry half-elf grabbed her war scythe that was on the ground and started to walk towards the undead skeleton gradually. Oh, you're approaching me. I cannot fight you without getting closer. Oh ho. Then come as close as you like. She said it. I can't believe she said it, haha. Screamed Ainz with joy. Ability boost, greater ability boost. Again Zeshi charged at the undead skeleton, but this time way faster. It reached him really fast. The undead being raised his hand to cast a spell, but greater evasion. She vanished, leaving only reflex of her behind, then she appeared behind the undead skeleton. Zeshi tightened her war scythe. This was her chance. Full throttle Reaper Strike. She aimed at his skull, and the moment she was about to hit him, her war scythe was blocked by the black sword. Zeshi's eyes shocked because the undead wasn't even looking behind. Stronger with magic and stronger with the sword, what the hell? Che. Flow acceleration. With increased speed, Zeshi jumped in front of the undead. Reaper. The undead was faster. Magma pillar. Koog. A rock in the form of a pillar came out from the ground and hit Zeshi on her stomach, then it exploded, that sent Zeshi 20 meters away from him. Zeshi fell and rolled on the ground but she didn't give up. With the help of her war scythe, she managed to rise. She looked at him with fury eyes and started to activate her martial arts again. Limit breaker, ability boost, greater evasion. The use of so many martial arts will give her a really bad pain. Like a light speed, she leaps from the ground, leaving a huge crater behind, and went for the kill. Physical boost, Reaper strike, A metallic sound was heard. The bloodied Zeshi attack was blocked again by the black sword. You never give up, don't you? Zeshi smiled at Ainz. Don't get so cocky, girl. Huh. Maximize magic, gravity maelstrom. The black orb hit Zeshi's stomach and it took her 15 meters away, but the orb exploded, and that sent Zeshi flying 60 meters away from Ainz. She made an impact with the ground, causing the dust to rise. Now she can't get up on her feet anymore. She was all beaten up. From the use of so many martial arts, her body was shivering like she had been staying out on a cold winter night. She didn't have a potion or an item to recover, that means, soon she will die. Well, this looks really bad. Spoke the undead that had defeated her. Am I so weak? She spoke with difficulties because of the blood on her mouth. She was never defeated since the day she started to train. All her life she has been looking for someone to have a powerful fight but nobody was on her level. The cardinal never let her leave the cathedral. She waited for ages and still no one, but now. You are really strong, Zeshi. With tears in her eyes, Zeshi smiled at the gentle words of this powerful undead that has defeated her easily. She closed her eyes because she thought that the undead being will kill her, but nothing happened. Zeshi felt a hand that was lifting her head and she quickly opened her eyes. Lord Ainz, what are you doing? Hey, don't beat yourself up, drink this. He gave her to drink a red-colored healing potion that she has never seen before. When the red liquid went down her throat, her body started to heal completely, even her gear recovered. She felt like she can fight again. How are you feeling? He asked. I'm good, but... What was that? Ah, that is just a minor healing potion. I see. Well, I will leave now. Said Ainz, turning her his back. The eyes of Zeshi went wide and quickly rose on her feet and ran after him. Hey, are you just gonna leave me like this? She shouted. Ainz turned his skull slowly. Didn't the healing potion worked? Asked Ainz with wonder. My wounds are healed but my heart is not. Huh. I'm sorry, I don't understand. Suddenly his words were interrupted. I have been waiting so long, I have been waiting for this moment for ages. Still, Ainz didn't understand shit. She said that she has been waiting for ages but she looked like a teenage girl and what was that she has been looking for ages made him curious. Please, take me with you, I want to be with you, please. Zeshi has put both her hands on his skeletal chest and tears were coming out from her beautiful eyes. The green aura of Ainz was exploding like a volcano. But I killed your friends. They are not my friends. They all call me a freak because of these. Zeshi reviled Ainz her ears. Those ears didn't belong to a human. Zeshi was a half-elf with heterochromia eyes, but what Ainz saw was something else. He saw himself when he was a weak skeleton mage that was hunted all the time and others called him a disgusting creature. He saw Suzuki Satoru. Ainz took out a white handkerchief and began to wipe the tears of Zeshi. Zeshi, please don't cry. That's not good for your beautiful face. Those gentle words made her heart pump faster and she hugged him tightly. My love, I want to stay with you forever. Again the green aura of Ainz was activated when he heard that word. Love. But Zeshi, I am in. I don't care, I just want you. Oh okay. Ainz started to pat her head and then hugged her. His emotions keep suppressed by his undead nature. Ah, Lord Ainz. They were interrupted by the voice of another girl. Both Ainz and Zeshi looked around where that voice came from. Then they found her. Ainz remembered her, it was the blonde girl that started everything. Oh, it's you. The girl was lying beneath a tree. He thought, his AoE spells might have killed her but no, she was lying there with hands on her stomach. You are wounded? Asked Ainz. Please, heal me. She begged. Why should I? Again Ainz asked with wonder. I can do everything for you. Please. I can't stand the pain anymore. She begged again. Ainz turned his skull and looked at Zeshi that was smiling at him. You all called her a traitor. What did she do? Asked Ainz. Yes my love, she is accused of murdering a Miko princess and killing many citizens of the slain theocracy. Ainz didn't care what was that princess, but little did he know that he had killed one too. What is your name? Asked Ainz. Clementine, my lord. Well Clementine, even if I heal you, you are worthless to me. With tears in her eyes, Clementine lowered her head and fell in despair. He accepted Zeshi because she was worthy, but she was weak, she didn't belong in his ranks. She will just die here and her corpse will be eaten by monsters. She didn't belong in this world. But Clementine lifts her head fast to hear the undead. If you abandon your humanity, you will become my subordinate. She thought for a moment. She didn't know what kind of monster he will turn her into, but she didn't care. If it means she will stay alive, then so be it. Yes, I accept. So be it then. Create high-tier vampire, Blood Empress. A red liquid appeared and covered Clementine completely. The red liquid did not disappear, but it entered inside Clementine's mouth. Her skin now was pale white. She opened her crimson eyes and saw Ainz. Your loyal slave is ready to serve you, master. When she spoke, her sharp fangs could be seen. Zeshi was just smiling because she accepted everything her husband does. She didn't mind having Clementine as a comrade again. Collect the most powerful weapons and items of the Black Scripture and bring them to me. Yes, my master. Ah, what about those 2 blood bags over there? Shall I have them for dinner, my master? The way she talked irritated Ainz. Was she always like this? Go do what I told you to do. Ordered Ainz with a serious tone. Yes master. The level 90 vampire obeyed her master. Ainz and Zeshi went to Rovina and Astrologer that were kneeling some meters away. Astrologer was shaking from fear, but Rovina had an angry face. When the 2 powerful beings were in front of, she started to shout. You fucking half-elf whore traitor, you will pay, Kukvith. The reason she stopped shouting was because Ainz cut her throat with his black sword and she fell on the ground dying slowly. Oh no, you can't call my waifu like that. Astrologer was horrified, she wanted to scream and beg for mercy. With tears in her eyes, she saw Rovina's body shaking and the blood flowing from her throat. Then the undead was right in front of her, but now he was wearing a majestic dark gown adorned with golden and violet edges. Even Zeshi was surprised when she saw it. Astrologer understood that all this time, they had been fighting the god of death. You were the only one that didn't want this to happen, so I will let you go, but for now. Sleep dear child, because beautiful dreams await you. Hail the Supreme Overlord.